Hello, everyone. I am John Howe, financial planner here at Generation Capital Management, and this is another episode of John's Top Tips. And today I am here with one of my very favorite top tips, and this is how to buy a house on a shoestring budget. It sounds like something that's kind of crazy, and maybe it is, but there are actually a lot of ways to make a house purchase affordable. So the first question that we have to ask ourselves is why even buy a house? A lot of us out there feel that renting is the way to go, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that if that's a choice that you want to make. But buying a house, if you can afford one, can potentially be the best way to help yourself out financially. I'm sure that it's not surprising to you when I say that paying rent is only lining someone else's pocket. And when you make a payment on your mortgage instead, you're putting money towards your own ownership of a piece of property instead of someone else's. So there's kind of a nice little feature there. Most importantly, one of the things that we're considering when we're thinking about buying a house in this environment is that our interest rates are incredibly low. But they are indeed on the rise. So right now might be a really good time to take advantage of the environment. What you might be saying to me right now is, yeah, well, I need a down payment and it's going to be a lot of money. And, I just don't feel like I can do that right now. Well, the truth is that you don't actually need a huge down payment. Conventional mortgages you can put down between 5 to 6%. That's their down payment requirement. You will experience PMI at that level of down payment, but it could be something that's worth it for you. There are other mortgage programs, however, that have lower or no down payment requirements. And a perfect example of this is the USDA mortgage program. And if you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, John, you mean the USDA?" Yeah, I mean the USDA. They have a mortgage program that encourages people to buy property out in rural areas that are typically used for farming and things of that nature. And they actually have a low income program that requires a $0 down payment on a house. This won't be for everybody. There are some income requirements. And the primary qualification for this type of loan is actually that the house needs to be in a USDA authorized area. The USDA website actually has an interesting tool. You can go in and you can type in an address and see if the property qualifies for USDA loan. A lot of properties, you'd be surprised, they actually do. And this isn't the only type of loan program that's out there. There are a bunch of different ones. You just have to do a little bit of research and a little bit of finding, or reach out to us and we can help you to figure that out. And then the last thing that you might be caught up on is the closing costs, and those can be pretty significant. There are a couple of ways that we can work on those. One of the ways that you can reduce your out-of-pocket cost for closing is through what's called a seller concession. This is something that you actually work into your offer when you put in an offer on a house. In certain different programs have different rules, but typically a seller's concession is essentially the seller of the property agreeing that part of the proceeds of the sale will go towards helping you with your closing costs. It's another way to make sure that you can potentially do this transaction without a ton of money in the bank. And there are a few more tricks that you can do too. One of those is asking the lender that you're going to be working with to see if they have any closing cost credits, or if there's any way that you could roll part of your closing costs into the loan. It's a little bit challenging. It can be a hard process, but it's definitely worth it if you think that you might be on the cusp of being able to afford a monthly payment for a house. Instead of lighting that money on fire, basically, when you're paying rent, you could be on your way to home ownership. This is a topic that's really close to my heart. I did write a blog about it, so be sure to visit our website. Go to the resources tab, check out our blog. You can read every last bit of the tips that I have on this topic. There's tons of details in there. I've included some links for you too. And if you have any questions in this process, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to help. Anyone here at Generation Capital Management is happy to help. Again, I'm John Howe, financial planner here at Generation Capital Management, and this was John's Top Tips.